Hi! So today I am going to talk, because I've been focusing this week on writing, on my Facebook page, and I'm going to add some things to Instagram for all the fun things that I have for writing and I use for my kids. Because this year we are focusing on writing. I have a 12-year-old who's dyslexic and has dysgraphia and dyscalculia, and she really struggles with writing to the point that we're barely writing sentences, and they're not good solid sentences. And I have an almost 14-year-old, could be 14 next month, who can write an essay as long as there's someone. Sorry, my nose really itches. I have allergies. Who can write an essay, but you have to walk him through each step of the process as for each part of the paragraph, and then for each paragraph in the essay. And then I have a just turned 16-year-old, yesterday was her birthday, that can write an essay, can write a paper on a topic, but she doesn't understand resources, her sources, not resources, her sources, putting in their sources, and she doesn't understand how to write it in a scholarly fashion. She writes like she talks. So if she was writing a paper on the care of a bearded dragon, she would say, you need to clean out the poop every day. To take care of a bearded dragon, you need to take the poop out every day, and you need to wipe down the cage. Use vinegar for that because everything else is bad, and you need to give them food every day, and you need to mix up their bugs. That would be her paper. It would not be a scholarly paper where it left out the U's and it put in resources and where to get the information and all that. She doesn't know how, because no matter how many times I've taught her and she took a writing class and they taught her, it doesn't make sense because she is autistic. So we're having to find new ways to work around that. So for writing for my younger one, we have this book, which is 180 Days in Writing. And it walks you through how to write different kinds of paragraphs and how to do different kinds of writing. But we are also focusing on using grammar and focusing on different things with that. And she is learning how to build up sentences, like we're talking about concrete words and the differences in those, and we're using a lot of YouTube videos as well. And with that, all three of my children are using Writeshop, level 1 and 2. I am going extremely slow for my 12-year-old. Like, it's going to take her 3 to 4 weeks to finish her first paragraph, whereas the other ones will get done. Well, my son will get it done, my middle one, in probably 2 weeks, and my oldest one will finish her paragraph in a week. And we're working on editing and getting things done correctly. And I liked the way that it describes how to do step by step and breaks it down and puts me working with them some, and then also them working on their own and building up those paragraphs, building up those sentences, making them not be verbose, but actually be solid, strong sentences. So we are using this, all of them, very slowly for the youngest one, of course. And then when I have struggles with them writing, I have a few other books I use. Some of these come from, so we got this one from Writeshop, and we got this one from Amazon, and I will put links to them in the description below. We got these ones from, they say Usborne, but Usborne has now PaperPie, and I do sell Usborne, so if you see something you like and it's still currently PaperPie, If you see something you like and it's still currently being sold, I will have links. If it's not currently being sold, I will put in a link to something similar, because there are lots of writing options through PaperPie, but they do tend to switch out the kinds of books they have. So this one is creative writing book, and it takes you through content. So it takes you from who do you think you are to building up your characters, and then working through the story and how to build the story and all the different parts of the story. And then after you get through all this parts and the different parts of the story, at the end, you will have a story by the end of it. Because it fully writes down how to do a screenplay and different things, and poetry, and it just breaks down the different kinds of fiction and creative writing there is. And so it's really easy when they really struggle with this one and they're really burnt out, and I don't want to stop them from writing, because my kids need to write every day because they are really bad at it. I pick up either this one, or we pick up a write your own book. Write Your Own Mystery and Suspense Stories is the one I currently have. And this is for my son because he really likes doing that. And it does the same thing as a creative writing book. And it gives you places and gives you ideas on how to write it and different things. And so you write your own story. And again, those are on PaperPie. I will link them below. If they don't have these ones currently, they have similar ones, and I will link those. And I do get commission if you order off my link for the PaperPie books. This one I got from Amazon, but it is really fun. And it's by a company called The Learning Tree. I think it's The Learning Tree. Or The Thinking Tree, sorry. By funschooling.com. And you can find their whole series on funschooling.com. And most of the books you'll buy from Amazon, but they do have where if you buy a bundle of their curriculum, you can buy directly from them. And their books are, especially if you're an unschooler, are amazing. But for those times when your children really don't want to work and they have no desire to do any of the curriculum you have, and you need them to do something, they have a bunch of different journals. So there's the ones I have are the chef journal, the baking journal. We obviously have Minecraft stuff. I have the Animal Lovers Fun Schooling journal, and the All About Money, and the Foreign Language journal. But we have done many of them, and the way they break them down, you do like 5 or 6 pages a day, and the kids learn a lot. So with this one, you can see they've completed some of it. My kids don't like to color, and there's lots of opportunities to be artistic. My son is the one that this one belonged to, I believe. It looks like it because it's his handwriting. But he doesn't like to, he likes to draw in color, but he likes to draw in color specific things and not necessarily on his homework. When you tell him to do something, he tends to be like, no. So this is his, and it's a finish the story. So they give you a paragraph and then you have to write. And then, I don't know if you can see, his writing is atrocious. And then on the next page, it makes it into a comic book and you have to draw. And then they have a write your own story. And then write a creative story using this words list. And then finish the story again, and it just repeats. And it works that way, but it has different stories to finish and different looks on the pages. And different word lists. And it is some of the easiest writing, especially if your kid likes Minecraft, to get your kid to do. But this I use because I'm not trying, when I'm using this, I'm not trying to get him to do anything that's not just creative. And so I will take it and use it when he really is refusing anything else, because I need my kids to write every day. When your kids are dysgraphic and they really struggle, sometimes they're not going to want to write. And with Writeshop, I do have my kids do a lot of typing. I've put the instructions into Google Classroom. I type up the worksheets that they have in their student book. I don't share with anyone else. I'm not going to put them out there for anyone else to use. They're just specifically for my children. But I type up their worksheets and I put what they're from so that I remember not to use them with anyone else. And I have them do them in there. I have them type up their paragraphs in there. I have them do their rough drafts and highlighting in there. Only if they choose to write by hand do they have to write by hand when we're doing Writeshop. Because I don't want them to get overwhelmed. And they all know how to type really well. And dysgraphia causes pain in the wrist and the hand sometimes. And it causes them to have a really hard time. And it takes them a really long time to write things out. So I give them that option. My 16-year-old tends to write things out first. She likes to write. You can't read it. Everything's jumbled together. And her spacing is atrocious. And it doesn't matter what we've taught her, because we've taught her the finger spacing. And we have finger spacing tools for the younger too. But she still hasn't got it. And that's because of dysgraphia. But writing is our goal this year. And we are going to get there. And at the end of the year, I will update and see how we're doing. Is there a subject that you guys are working on that you would like some ideas on how to do or what to do, or if they are doable in a way that's more fun? Because especially if you have littles, I have lots of ideas, because when my kids were little, especially with my son, we did not sit down for very long at all. That's why we're learning to write so late, because it took a lot to get him active with his ADHD. Okay, have a nice day, and I hope you enjoyed writing.